Hello, I'm Willie Bragg. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. And I try to be a fucking truth teller. And before I start, let me just start by saying that, to like and comment and subscribe to this channel. Follow me here on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Rumble. And working on Rumble. I'm going to keep repeating that until you realize I'm going to actually start putting shit on Rumble too. But anyway, I've been wanting to discuss Ukraine, Russia. I have discussed Russia and Ukraine since the conflict began, and even before it began, before the whole thing started. And what I want to have discussed basically is this, and that's the situation regarding the bad guy, who is ultimately the bad guy in this whole conflict. And so I want to make it state this clearly, because when I state this position, people are going to take things the wrong way and project in the wrong direction from every angle. And I will probably lose a few subscribers. And I'm sorry that people are going to, interpret things the wrong way. And it is what it is. But I do need to get this out of my chest. So I want to make it official. Where do I stand between Russia and Ukraine? This whole war business that's been here since, I believe, February 24th, when the whole thing started. Well, just like I am with most wars, pretty much all wars since World War II, I'm a pacifist. I am a third camp internationalist. I can't really justify war under 99% of the circumstances out there. There's very little war that you would ever see me really looking at in a favorable way. I guess I'm not going to say I'm an absolute pacifist. I mean, for self-defense, I don't consider myself a patriotic person per se, but yeah, if the United States was defended, sure. If the United States was defended, you go and defend yourself. But, I don't like the United States doing pre-military strikes around the world, and that's fucked up. And in some ways, you can compare Russia's invasion of the Ukraine to 2003's America invasion of Iraq in a lot of ways. I have a lot of criticism of Russia. So, and there's a lot of misconceptions that I am in love with Russia, that I'm pro-Russia. There's a lot of people who said that about me, and the thing is, I never believed in Russia collusion, Russia Gate. Is a conspiracy theory. I don't believe in conspiracy that could get me shut down. But what I am going to say is that I do reject conspiracy theories across the board, because I think conspiracy theories tend to be, bullshit, rubbish. It tends to be just people just think that they have an edge on things when they're just usually full of shit when it comes to let me turn this off. Yeah. Well, when it comes to knowing all the answers. And do I think that Donald Trump, was he politically in bed with Vladimir Putin? Absolutely not. That doesn't make me a simp for Donald Trump. I just do not believe that Donald Trump was in collusion with Vladimir Putin. Just as I do not believe that Joe Biden is in collusion with the government of China. I've heard all kinds of conspiracy theories going on both ways. And I absolutely reject that. Totally, emphatically, I do. So I want to make that from the get-go. There's a whole lot of criticism I have about Russia. And that's not one of them. not one bit. The conspiracy theories doesn't end with just Donald Trump and it doesn't end with just Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. So I mean, there are other conspiracy theories out there. They're just as ridiculous as that, and just and I'm out here to basically just call bullshit on it whenever I do in fact see it. And another one that I kind of like to put to rest is hold on a second. I'm trying to find the well, where did it go? Well, that's okay if I can't find it. No, it's not okay. The other one I don't believe is this whole conspiracy theory in 2019, early 2020. I can't believe it's almost 3 years ago where this conspiracy theory came out that when Hillary Clinton claimed that Tulsi Gabbard is being groomed by the Russian government. And I fear for her life sometimes that there could be another Dreyfus affair. But this time, instead of a Jewish officer in France, a Hindu military officer in the United States. She's been unfairly targeted. And this is what I'm fearing with regard to Tulsi Gabbard. There are times that Tulsi Gabbard, perplex me, and there are times that she has me baffled. And I think about Tulsi Gabbard a lot. Believe me, I think about her a whole lot. Really, a whole lot. A lot of nights I think about Tulsi Gabbard. But anyway, that's another subject. I need to take a cold shower. But anyhow, what I'm going to say is that my point is there's a lot of conspiracies that's been made about her. Do I think she's as base now as I thought she was 3 years ago? No. But is she correct on foreign policy? Absolutely. We need more people like her. We need less Liz Cheney. We need less Hillary Clintons. When it comes to foreign policy, yeah, we do need more Tulsi Gabbards. We do need more peacemakers around, less warmongers. I die on that hill too, by the way. So what I want to discuss now is the Ukraine, the situation at hand. And here's the thing about it with a lot of American shit libs and a lot of the neocons too on the Republican side. They're on the same page. They're hawkish toward how the hell that keeps happening? Okay. They're hawkish toward Ukraine. They have been hawkish, and shit libs are hawkish because they really believe that by being hawkish on Ukraine against Russia, that they're sticking it to Donald Trump. That's really what it comes down to. The neocons, there's not an international conflict around that they're not opposed to. It's about serving the interests of the defense contractors, and it's about being a world policeman every chance they could get. They just want to be everywhere in the world. They want to be the world's policeman, and this is just another chance to do so. I mean, if John McCain was still alive, and as a senator, he'd be rattling those sabers right now. But his little bitch from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, is sort of carrying on that tradition. So this is pretty bipartisan as far as the frenzy for war going on. And I frankly don't want to see the end of human civilization because shit libs have a hate boner for Donald Trump. And this is payback for Hillary Clinton's loss in 2016. And I don't want to see World War III happen because, what's his name? Lindsey Graham and Liz Cheney wants to appease defense contractors. And we need to just keep all that in mind. Now, there are things you need to know about Russia and the Ukraine. I have problems with Russia in a lot of ways from the get-go. I have problems with Russia. I mean, it's not really a democracy in many ways. I mean, I consider Vladimir Putin a right-wing figure. in many ways, I do think he's a right-wing figure. They have a homophobia problem in Russia. I mean, they're people don't dare to criticize their government that much. I mean, there's a lot of things about Russia that's kind of authoritarian in regard to Vladimir Putin. Not my idea of who I would support in Russia. Having that said, I think he's absolutely the worst person that's a head of state anywhere in the world. There's a lot of people I hope a lot worse than Vladimir Putin. But I'm not a supporter of Vladimir Putin. Yeah, I mean, just not. I mean, I support the cause of Pussy Riot in Russia. So anybody who thinks that anybody on certain factions of the left or the right, for that matter, who thinks that I'm just another shit lib wanting to go and take a shit on Russia, they think twice. So now let's talk about the Ukraine situation. Why do I have problems with the Ukraine? And why am I so harsh on a lot of shit libs on this frenzy for war in the last few months? And why am I so adamantly opposed to this conflict, the U.S. and NATO getting involved? Well, there's several things. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, officially, we made a promise. We made a promise to the new government, the Russian Federation, that the Eastern European countries would not be joining NATO. Well, in the late 1990s, what happened? All one by one, various Eastern European countries started joining NATO, and it was, and little by little, I mean, we just broke the promise. I mean, it's par for the course. I call it Tuesday when it comes to the United States. Now, aside from that, what else is a problem about the Ukraine? Well, about a decade ago, when I found out that the U.S. assisted a coup, the CIA assisted a coup in Ukraine about 2014, and took down the democratic government and put in the government they have now with the Nazis that are in there, the Azov battalions. And unlike some shit libs have said, trying to say, well, they're not a problem, they're no different but from a bunch of Nazis in Idaho, what have you. No, it's not the same. And we're not talking about a couple of jarheads with swastika tattoos who are privates or corporals in the army in the Ukraine. We're talking about military officers, high-level military officers in the Azov battalion, or neo-Nazis. We're talking about the celebration of Stefan Bandera, having boulevards and streets named after him, celebrating his name, the man who praised Hitler. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a country that has a cultural anti-Semitic problem. Yeah, I know that Volodymyr Zelensky is Jewish, a non-practicing Jewish man. I know it's true. America has a racist history too, but they elected a Barack Obama. Anything is possible, okay? But Volodymyr Zelensky got elected. Okay, I got it. I get it. But Ukraine has a serious cultural anti-Semitism problem, much deeper than Russia ever did. And I know, I mean, talking about modern day Russia, not talking about the pogroms of the 19th century. Ukraine has a deeper homophobia problem, worse than today's Russia. It's true. 11 political parties were banned recently in the Ukraine parliament. That is also a problem. Several news channels and stations were shut down. That's a problem. Discrimination against ethnic Russians. That's a problem. A new law just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, cracking down on labor unions. You know where I stand on labor unions. You know that's stepping on my toes right there. I'm offended. And then the black, and then there's this. There's the government of the Ukraine basically trying to manipulate American foreign policy. What am I talking about? Well, I found out maybe close to a month ago, about maybe 3 weeks ago or so, knowing that the Ukraine government are demanding to put well, I mentioned her earlier, to basically put Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Greenwald, and whatever some people on the left wing audience here think of Glenn Greenwald and Tulsi Gabbard, because there's division on their opinions, and neither of them are perfect, but I still think they do great work in a lot of areas. I don't agree with them on everything, but they do. They still do great work, and I do not consider them right wing by any stretch of the imagination. But Vladimir Zelensky government wants to put the U.S. government putting these two on a blacklist to basically, to consider them subversive. I mean, how dare? And I'm not exactly the most patriotic person in the world. But how dare that another government would tell the United States government how to govern and who to keep an eye on? How dare? I mean, what's subversive about Tulsi Gabbard or Glenn Greenwald in terms of their support for free speech? Both of them are free speech absolutists. Both of them oppose torture. Both of them are anti-war. Both of them, are critical. The thing about it is, Tulsi Gabbard said, yeah, it's terrible what they've done to Brittany Griner in Russia. But you know what? We do that par for the course all the time here in the United States, locking up people for casual marijuana use. Who are we to criticize Russia over Brittany Griner when we have a high incarceration rate for something as benign as marijuana usage, which marijuana should have been illegal, should not have ever been illegal to begin with. I don't smoke it anymore, but I'm just saying that for those who do, they should not have to fear getting caught and incarcerated and put in prison or what have you. Or they shouldn't even have to be, do community service. Oh, hell, somebody who smokes marijuana, they should give them the key to the city, as far as I'm concerned, because they're not harming anybody. So that there is that. So she's been correct, and you got Senator Mitt Romney of Utah basically saying that she's committed borderline treason by calling about the biohazard labs in Ukraine recently. We need to know about shit like this. I'm glad she's whistleblowing. And, and for all these folks that want to go and be criticizing Glenn Greenwald, and some of them don't like the government of Brazil, but when Jair Bolsonaro is defeated and Lula comes back to power, you're going to have to thank Glenn Greenwald for this, because he got him out of prison. He got Lula da Silva out of prison, who should have never been to prison to begin with. So I'm pontificating, but the government of the Ukraine consider these two as subversive. That is my point. And I just think that's just wrong. And it's not just Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Greenwald. Again, I'll mention somebody else I don't particularly agree a whole lot on, or less, let's say Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Greenwald. Somebody that I would disagree less than those two, but not necessarily on foreign policy, and that would be Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. I got a lot of criticism of Rand Paul. On economics, he fucking stinks to hide hell. Fuck economic libertarianism. Fuck economic libertarianism. I'll say it again. Fuck economic libertarianism. It's shit for an ideology. But when it comes to things like foreign policy, and in some cases, in much cases dealing with civil liberties, they're not going to be wrong necessarily. So in regard to that, as I said, on foreign policy, he's okay. No interventionism abroad. I like that. I mean, I like that. He worked with Bernie Sanders to put a stop to arms sales to Saudi Arabia, to put a stop to the genocide being committed in Yemen. You know, what do the mainstream people in both parties do? They fucking sell arms to Saudi Arabia to go and oversee a genocide in Yemen. Maybe they might not want to see the genocide in Yemen, but it happens in effect anyway. Why? Defense contractors at the end of the day, the people that Dwight Eisenhower warned us about in 1961 as he was exiting out of the Oval Office, just shortly before he was leaving the Oval Office. Kind of a convenient time to let us know about that. Well, it's not just people like Rand Paul and his father Ron Paul was good on foreign policy too. But they're terrible on the economics. So that's, being said. Excuse me, I just ate earlier. Another thing that's fucked up is the right wing is so toxic in the Ukraine that they have a to kill list right now. There's a right wing website and is calling for the murder of Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. I mean, he's and he's calling for he's calling for a peace basically, and and he's finding a lot of fault himself with the situation in Ukraine, and he's been vilified. He's been vilified for his positions on Syria, and he wasn't wrong. He's been criticized for his position because he supports BDS. I mean, the BDS movement to try to pressure Israel to changing its behavior toward Palestinians, and so he's been heavily criticized from in the United States primarily, and now he's on the shit list of the right wing in the Ukraine, and the Ukraine people, the right wing in the Ukraine wants him dead. They also want Henry Kissinger dead. Not that I like Henry Kissinger, but I don't want anybody dying. I don't like people dying, even people I disagree with, like Henry Kissinger. But at least Henry Kissinger, who is a war criminal, isn't wrong about wanting Russia and the United Russia and Ukraine to negotiate. At least in his old age, I mean, he seems like he's trying to reform himself, unlike Dick Cheney and all those other motherfuckers from the Bush-Cheney years who are still committed war criminals, and they don't show any remorse for what they have done. Oh, I still think that Henry Kissinger ought to be behind bars. I don't care if he's 99 years old, but still, I'm just having that said. But no, nobody should be killed. Nobody should be killed at all. Nobody. So my point is that United States, the shit lives are enabling a lot of right wing thought, and when they think they're being super progressive, and it's not really being all that super progressive. Really, if you want to be progressive on the left, if you want to be progressive on Ukraine, Russia, the best position is neutral at the end of the day. If you want to be a true libertarian or a true conservative, the best position is neutrality. Let these two countries sort this out. Let's don't try to cause World War III because of domestic American culture war bullshit. And that's really what it comes down to. Vote blue no matter who, morons and QAnon weirdos that are just hating on each other. And we're going to go and have mushroom clouds potentially popping up because QAnon and vote blue no matter who, silly people on both sides want to sit there and own each other. Is that what it's come down to? Gosh, we're not just sick, we're silly and sick. So anyway, we have a kind of a healthy little chat line here. So let's see here. Let me scroll down. And we start with Spice. What is it? Spice Hunt Master. Hello back at ya. Let's see. Dick Justice said, "What's up, brother? I'm neutral about the conflict. However, I notice how mainstream media even celebrate Azov and other radical right wingers. They don't hold the same standards for them as for Trump." Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it is, I mean, you know, even here in America, Bush Cheney killed more people abroad than Trump. Trump killed less people in foreign policy than Bush Cheney. So that's I'm not saying that I like Trump. I'm just saying that Bush and Cheney. One of the reasons Bush and Cheney were worse. If you want to go and want to blame somebody for bringing us a Donald Trump, you have to go to the source. George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are at the source of why this country is shit today. It would have been shit anyway, but they really made the country a bigger toilet than it should be. Let's see. I know what you meant by that. Let's see. And I can't stand the crazy Trump supporters, but those Ukrainian Nazis are far worse. Yeah. Fuck all Nazis, honestly. Yeah. Let's see. I don't like Putin either. He's too much of an autocrat. Yeah, that's the thing right there. And so, if you're critical of Ukraine, you're called you're accused of being pro-Russia. It's entirely possible you can find problems with both countries, but there's this thing called nuance. But I notice that people don't like to deal with the whole thing called nuance. Let's see here. Putin is terrible, but Ukrainian government is full of Bandera and Nazi supporters. Yep, that's pretty much what I pretty much agree with that sentiment right there. Let's see. Bandera ethnically cleansed Polish and Jewish people. And that's the thing right there, where we're enabling that kind of thought. If we're going to hate Nazis here, we should hate Nazis anywhere. And when the United States and the Ukraine are like the only two countries in the world at the UN that will not condemn, Nazism in its officially condemned Nazism. And it's not, I think that the United States didn't do it because they were thinking that it's some kind of a little dot crime thing or whatever. It's not that. It's just a resolution to say, hey, Nazism is an awful ideology. But I think that the United States decided, this was back in 2004, and I think that basically, under Bush, they didn't want to offend certain people. When they claimed that Donald Trump didn't want to offend certain people, there were people like that before in the Republican side that didn't want to offend certain people. Donald Trump wasn't the first that was doing that. So let's see here. I am torn between Ukrainian girls really knocking me and the Moscow girls making me scream and shout. Me too, brother. Me too. Because they're kind of hot. Absolutely. Yes. And I've been noticing that on the videos lately. Whatever I'm watching from that part of the world. Let's see. Yep. Laughing out loud. Absolutely. Let's see here. American foreign policy is cancer. It is, and they keep repeating the same shit over and over again. It's ridiculous. They interfere into all the internal affairs of other countries. American imperialism is a bigger danger to the world than Russia and China. Yeah, and they end up doing things that we end up paying for later on, like supporting the rebels in Afghanistan in the 1980s. That caused 9/11 down the road. Today's September the 11th too, ironically enough. And what the United States did, because they were trying to, they were going out. Yeah, there was an example. What the United States did in Afghanistan in the 80s was kind of equivalent of what we're doing today in the Ukraine. We were supporting a lot of bad actors. So Let's see here. Who do you support? I support the side of peace. El Guff ask. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see here. Libertarians are delusional in terms of economy. Ron Paul is a likable person, and I agree he is likable, but his ideology is garbage except for non-intervention. Totally agree with that. Yes, I do. I totally agree with that sentiment. I like Ron Paul. I respect Ron Paul. You never hear me say anything bad about Ron Paul other than my disagreement with foreign policy. Although I have an interesting story about Ron Paul, he was opposed to Tony Blair getting the Congressional Medal of Honor. I believe it was in 2003 or 2004, something like that. And I was opposed to it, but he had a weird reason. The reasons he was opposed to it were Tony Blair's better points, and I don't mean that was Tony Blair himself, but guilt by association. He didn't want the Congressional Medal of Honor for Freedom for Tony Blair because Tony Blair was the leader of the Labor Party, which is a socialist party. Even though the Tony Blair was not a socialist anymore, and Tony Blair with his new Labor project, which was as much as toxic as Bill Clinton's Democratic Leadership Council bullshit third way politics. And then he says, the Labor Party is what brought Great Britain into socialism with universal health care. Yeah, that totally base. But I'm sure that Tony Blair would not have been for it. I'm sure Tony Blair would probably be okay with it being privatized. So, actually, I have no use for Tony Blair, but he was disliking Tony Blair for the wrong reasons. So there's that. Let's see, what's that there? Oh yeah, something about it looks like bugs on the thing there. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have to say right now. If y'all like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, comment anyway. We shall have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. What else am I going to say? Be sure to follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, where you'll find me pretty much anytime on Twitter. And on Rumble, you just at least start following me on Rumble. I just got to figure it out, and I will probably make a Facebook page because it's still relevant, I guess, as a forum. So there is that announcement tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if everything goes correctly. Santa Claus from the Mayor Pro Tem from North Pole, Alaska. Yes, there is a North Pole in Alaska, and the Mayor of North Pole in Alaska is named Santa Claus, the Mayor Pro Tem, that is. And he ran for Congress earlier this year in the ranked choice voting contest congressional race that they had, and came in 5th place in the first round. I will be interviewing him tomorrow. And remember to always reject corporate media because they have nothing at all to offer us. And until next time, come back to the Willie Bragg Show, and I will conclude by saying to you all, music. Take care. Bye-bye.